You spent years chasing something you couldn't hold, chasing moments, chasing applause, chasing a feeling that disappeared the moment you touched it. You called it happiness. But deep down, you knew it wasn't real, it wasn't lasting, it wasn't yours. You weren't made to live in noise. You weren't made to build your life on shifting sand. You were made for something deeper, something calmer, something stronger. The Stoics understood this. They didn't chase happiness, they built joy. A joy that no storm could shake. A joy that no loss could steal. A joy that lived within. And today, we're not just learning ancient words, we're rebuilding the foundation of your life, one choice, one breath, one truth at a time. Protect your peace, own your mind, live like your soul depends on it, because it does. Let's open the first door together. You spent most of your life chasing it, a bigger paycheck, a bigger house, a better relationship. Happiness. You thought, if I just get there, I'll finally feel whole. But every time you reached it, it slipped through your hands. The new job felt empty, the new love faded, the applause got quieter, and the hunger inside you only grew louder. The Stoics saw this. They knew most people spend their lives chasing ghosts, mirages of happiness, because what the world sells you is not joy. It's entertainment, it's distraction, it's a temporary high, and when it fades, you are left even emptier than before. Real joy is not something you stumble upon, it's something you build from within, brick by brick, choice by choice, not through chasing, but through aligning. Imagine living a life where your soul stays steady, whether the world cheers or stays silent, whether fortune comes or leaves. That life is possible, and it starts with seeing clearly. Most people confuse pleasure with joy, but they are not the same. They never were. Pleasure is a moment. Joy is a state of being. Pleasure depends on something outside you. The food tastes good, the drink feels warm, the applause sounds sweet. But joy depends on something inside you, a clarity, a peace, a rootedness that storms cannot touch. Pleasure is like a firecracker, bright, loud, gone in seconds. Joy is like a quiet flame, steady, enduring, unbreakable. The Stoics understood this. They did not forbid pleasure. They simply refused to build their lives on it, because they knew anything that can be taken from you will eventually be taken. And if your happiness depends on what you can lose, your happiness was never yours to begin with. Real joy comes from alignment, living in integrity, facing reality with courage, building your soul stronger than circumstances. It is not a high, it is not a rush, it is a foundation, solid, quiet, powerful. You can feel pleasure and still be empty. You can lose pleasure and still be whole, because joy is not a visitor. Joy is a home you build inside yourself. And once you build it, no one and nothing can ever take it away. If joy isn't something you find, it must be something you build, brick by brick, choice by choice. But how? First, you stop outsourcing your worth. You stop letting the world decide if you're enough. You stop needing the applause to feel alive. The Stoics taught, look within. Within is the fountain of goodness, your peace, your worth, your joy. They were never meant to come from outside. They were born to be built inside you. Second, you align your actions with your values. Not with trends, not with pressure, not with fear. When you live out of alignment, you tear yourself apart inside. But when you live in alignment, you grow stronger, steadier, clearer. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest with yourself, with your path, with your soul. Third, you practice gratitude. Not the fake kind, the real kind. The kind that sees the small things and knows they are everything. Gratitude turns survival into living. Gratitude turns scarcity into abundance. Gratitude turns chaos into clarity. Building joy is not waiting for life to get easier. It's choosing to build your fortress right here, right now, exactly where you are. One small choice at a time, one honest breath at a time, one brave moment at a time. Joy is not found. Joy is built, and the building starts with you. It's one thing to build joy. It's another thing to protect it, because the world will try to steal it, not always on purpose, but always without mercy. The world will tell you you're not enough, you're too much, you're falling behind. It will push you to compare, to chase, to doubt. But the Stoics knew, no man is free who is not master of himself. Protecting your joy starts with protecting your mind. You are not required to believe every thought that crosses your mind. You are not required to accept every judgment the world throws at you. You are not required to carry the chaos of others. You can choose what enters your mind, what you hold, what you release. Imagine carrying your joy like a sacred flame, shielded, protected, alive, not hidden out of fear, but guarded out of respect. Your joy is not cheap. It was built with your effort, your honesty, your battles no one else saw. So do not trade it for noise, for approval, for fear. Protect it, feed it, honor it, because in a noisy world, a steady joy is a revolution, and you are strong enough to keep it burning. Let's step deeper into the real work now, because before you can love wisely, you must first love yourself wisely. The world taught you that loving yourself is selfish, that putting yourself first makes you arrogant, cold, self-centered. But the Stoics knew better. They knew self-love is not selfishness, it's responsibility. Because if you cannot love yourself, you cannot truly love anyone else. If you despise yourself, you will seek from others what you refuse to give yourself: approval, validation, permission to exist. And you will turn love into neediness. You will turn connection into control. You will turn relationships into chains. Self-love is not about pampering yourself. It's about respecting yourself. It's about standing tall inside your own skin. It's about knowing your own worth without needing the world to confirm it. Imagine loving yourself enough to walk away from anything that dishonors your soul. Imagine trusting yourself enough to stay steady when others misunderstand you. Imagine valuing yourself enough to never settle for less than authenticity. Self-love is not a luxury, it's a foundation. Without it, everything else cracks. With it, everything else grows stronger. Love yourself. Not because you are perfect. Love yourself because you are responsible for the soul you carry. And when you do, you will finally be ready to love others, not out of fear, but out of freedom. Self-love is not loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't post for approval. Self-love is quiet, steady, unshakable. It looks like setting boundaries, even when your voice shakes. It looks like saying no without needing to explain yourself. It looks like choosing rest when the world worships burnout. Self-love is not just about feeling good. It's about doing what is good, even when it's hard. It's choosing honesty over pleasing. It's choosing growth over comfort. It's choosing peace over popularity. The Stoics lived this truth. They were not obsessed with how the world saw them. They were obsessed with how they saw themselves. They asked, am I living in alignment? Am I being true to my nature? Am I mastering myself or being mastered by the world? Imagine walking into every room, not needing to outshine anyone, not needing to be chosen, not needing to be understood, because you have already chosen yourself. You have already accepted yourself. You have already understood yourself. Self-love is not arrogance. It is humility in its purest form. The humility to say, I am worthy because I exist. I am valuable because I am alive. This is the kind of self-love that no storm can shake. This is the kind of self-love that makes you a force of peace in a chaotic world. Quiet, steady, real. It's easy to think that loving yourself means isolating yourself, building walls, pushing people away, trusting no one. But that's not love. That's fear. Real self-love does not close your heart, it anchors it. It doesn't isolate you from the world. It prepares you to meet it with wisdom. The Stoics taught, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In other words, the answer to betrayal is not mistrust. The answer to pain is not isolation. The answer is becoming stronger inside. Self-love is not about hiding. It's about walking into the world, full and steady, not empty and desperate. When you truly love yourself, you can give freely, without losing yourself in the giving. You can love fiercely, without clinging desperately. You can walk away when necessary, without hatred and without regret. Imagine trusting yourself so deeply that no rejection defines you, no betrayal destroys you, no misunderstanding derails you. Imagine being so full inside that even when others leave, you remain whole. Self-love is not a shield. It's a center, a home inside you that no one else owns. And from that home, you can love others bravely, not because you need them to complete you, but because you are already complete. Loving yourself is what makes real love possible. It's what turns survival into living. It's what turns fear into freedom. Most people spend their lives looking for a safe place, a safe person, a safe love, a safe tomorrow. But the Stoics knew true safety can never come from the outside. The world changes, people change. Circumstances shift like sand. If your peace depends on them, you will always live in fear. True safety is something you build inside. It's the unshakable knowing that no matter what happens around you, you will not lose yourself. It's the quiet confidence that you can face pain without breaking, that you can face loss without losing your center. It's the steady courage to walk alone when necessary, to stand when it would be easier to fall. Imagine becoming your own safe place, a sanctuary that no betrayal can poison, a home that no storm can flood, a strength that no chaos can shatter. Imagine knowing that you carry inside you everything you thought you had to chase outside, your calm, your clarity, your courage. You don't need to be rescued. You don't need to be saved. You only need to come home to yourself. Self-love is not a destination, it's a practice. It's a daily building of walls that protect without isolating, of doors that open wisely and close wisely, of windows that see clearly without being clouded by fear. Become your own safe place, and you will walk through the world with peace in your chest, with fire in your spirit, with freedom in your step, and no one can take that away. Love should set you free. But for most people, it becomes another kind of prison. They don't seek love because they have something to give. They seek love because they are empty, because they are afraid, because they believe, if someone loves me, then maybe I'm enough. But the Stoics knew no external love can fix an internal wound. If you walk into love, needing someone to complete you, you will turn every kiss into a demand, every conversation into a test, every silence into a threat. You will not love them, you will consume them. Neediness is not love, it is fear, wearing the mask of devotion. It suffocates, it clings, it strangles what it claims to cherish. Real love does not chain, it frees. Real love does not demand, it invites. Real love does not need to own, it chooses to honor. Imagine loving someone because you are already whole, not because you are broken. Not because you are empty, not because you are desperate. Imagine building a relationship on respect, on freedom, on the quiet, steady joy of two complete souls choosing each other freely. That is the love the Stoics pointed to, a love not of need, but of strength. And that kind of love can outlast storms, can outlast fear, can outlast even time itself. It's easy to confuse need with love. They feel similar at first, both intense, both overwhelming, both pulling you towards someone, but they are not the same. Not even close. Need says, I can't live without you. Love says, I choose to walk beside you. Need says, complete me. Love says, I am complete, and I offer you my fullness. Need is desperation. Love is freedom. The Stoics understood this. They knew the healthiest bonds are built between whole people, not between two halves, clinging to each other for survival. When you need someone to feel okay, you will fear losing them at every step. You will shapeshift to keep them. You will betray yourself to hold them. You will shrink to fit inside their approval. That is not love. That is self-erasure. Real love, real respect begin with you. Your wholeness, your clarity, your willingness to be fully yourself. And then, from that place of wholeness, you choose, not out of fear, not out of emptiness, but out of joy. You choose to walk alongside someone. You choose to build with them, to rise with them, to face the world with them. Not because you need to, but because you want to. And that is the kind of love that breathes, that grows, that endures. Respect is the soil where real love grows. Without it, even the deepest passion rots into resentment. But most people, they want to be loved, adored, chosen, without first being respected. The Stoics knew better. They knew you cannot truly love what you do not respect. So how do you build a relationship rooted in respect? First, by respecting yourself, your boundaries, your voice, your truth. You teach others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you betray yourself to keep them, you teach them you are not worth protecting. Second, by respecting them, not their masks, not their potential, but their reality, who they are right now. Respect is not about putting someone on a pedestal. It's about seeing them clearly. The good, the hard, the imperfect, and choosing to honor their humanity anyway. Third, by building a foundation of honesty, not brutal honesty, not weaponized truth, but clear, kind, unwavering honesty. Because respect cannot grow in lies. It cannot breathe in manipulation. It cannot survive in pretense. Imagine a love where you don't have to guess, where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to shrink. Imagine a bond built on two people standing tall, facing life side by side, strong alone, stronger together. That is the power of respect. That is the soil where love becomes something real, something rare, something enduring. Love without respect is a fire without air. It may burn bright at first, but it will suffocate itself. Without respect, love becomes possession, control, desperation, fear. You start doubting each other, you start competing, you start resenting, until the love becomes a battlefield. The Stoics warned, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Without respect, your mind becomes a battlefield too. Every silence feels like rejection. Every mistake feels like betrayal. Every distance feels like abandonment. Because without respect, trust collapses, and without trust, love cannot breathe. Real love respects your no as much as your yes. It respects your individuality, your boundaries, your growth. It doesn't try to shrink you. It doesn't try to own you. It doesn't turn you into an extension of someone else's fears. Imagine being loved, not for how well you perform, not for how much you please, but simply for who you are. As you are, without shrinking, without apologizing, without performing. That is the kind of love that can endure storms. That is the kind of love that makes you stronger, not smaller. Without respect, love suffocates. With respect, Love becomes a sanctuary. Choose wisely, choose clearly, choose with both your heart and your wisdom. Love should make you stronger, not smaller, not quieter, not less yourself. But too often, people lose themselves in the name of love. They give up their dreams. They silence their truth. They abandon their own souls just to keep someone near. The Stoics would call this a betrayal, not of the other person, but of yourself. Real love calls you higher. It challenges you to be more honest, more courageous, more alive. It doesn't demand you shrink. It demands you rise. Imagine being with someone who doesn't just tolerate your growth. They celebrate it. They don't just survive your strength, they are inspired by it. Imagine a love where both people are free to expand, where both people push each other, not into conformity, but into greatness. Love is not meant to be a hiding place. It's meant to be a launch pad, a place where you are safe enough to be vulnerable and brave enough to become more. Anything less is not love. It's fear, disguised as loyalty. Love that makes you smaller is not love worth keeping. Love that makes you stronger is love worth fighting for. Choose the love that lifts you. Choose the love that fuels your fire. Choose the love that makes you more you. That is the love the Stoics would have honored, and it's the love you are worthy of building. This is how you build love that strengthens you. Not love that shrinks you, not love that erases you, a love rooted in respect, in wholeness, in freedom. And now, it's time to let go of the illusions that keep you chasing the wrong things. Let's walk into the next lesson together. You've learned how real love should feel, built from respect, rooted in wholeness, protected by clarity. But love is not the only thing the world confuses you about. There is something deeper. A silent trap, a lie that keeps you running, even when you are exhausted. Now, we enter. Lesson 4, letting go of illusions about love and beauty. Somewhere along the way, you are taught to chase what shines, the perfect love, the perfect beauty, the perfect life, you were told. If you just get there, if you just become perfect enough, then you'll finally be happy. But the Stoics warned, if you seek freedom, you must first free yourself from illusions. Illusions are seductive. They glitter, they promise, they whisper. Just one more step, just one more sacrifice, and everything you ever wanted will be yours. But illusions are empty. They consume you. They keep you hungry, restless, never enough. Chasing illusions is like chasing the horizon. No matter how far you run, you never reach it. The perfect relationship doesn't exist. The perfect body doesn't exist. The perfect life doesn't exist. What exists is reality, raw, imperfect, beautiful in its own unpolished way. The danger isn't just that illusions waste your time, it's that they steal your life, they keep you chasing, until one day you realize you spent your life loving things that were never real. The Stoics taught to find joy, you must see clearly, bravely, without flinching. Drop the fantasy, face the truth, hold what is real, because only reality can ever truly love you back. It's easy to fall in love with an idea, the idea of who someone could be, the idea of how they might change, the idea of the future you dream about together. But the Stoics warned, if you want to be happy, drop your fantasies. When you love someone's potential, you are not loving them. You are loving your own imagination. And when reality shows up with its imperfections, its cracks, its sharp edges, you feel betrayed. Not because they lied, but because your expectations did. Real love begins when you stop worshipping what could be and start honoring what is. Not the fantasy, not the projection, the person standing right in front of you with all their beauty, with all their flaws, with all their unfinished becoming. Imagine looking at someone and not needing them to be anything more than who they are today. Imagine loving with eyes wide open, without illusions, without blindfolds, without blueprints. This doesn't mean you ignore red flags. This doesn't mean you accept mistreatment. This means you choose with clarity. You stay because your soul aligns, not because your fantasies demand it. Loving clearly is harder than loving blindly, but it's the only way to build something real, something that breathes, something that endures. Drop the fantasy, hold the real. That is where true connection begins. You were taught to search for perfect love, the one who completes you, the one who understands you without words, the one who never fails you. It sounds beautiful. It feels comforting. It is also a lie. The Stoics knew expectations are the root of all heartache. Perfect love does not exist. Perfect people do not exist. Perfect moments fade as soon as you try to hold them. Real love is not flawless. It is brave. It is patient. It is messy and still magnificent. When you chase perfection in love, you set yourself up for disappointment. You will run from relationship to relationship, always blaming others for falling short, always thinking, maybe the next one will be perfect. But the real problem is not them. It's the illusion you refuse to release. Real love requires seeing the cracks, seeing the fears, seeing the humanness, and choosing to stay anyway. It's not about settling for less. It's about choosing to love. What is real? Imagine loving someone, not because they are perfect, but because they are courageous enough to keep trying. Imagine being loved, not because you perform perfectly, but because you are seen and still cherished. Love is not about finding someone who never hurts you. It's about finding someone who hurts you sometimes, but never on purpose, and who chooses to heal alongside you. Drop the fantasy of perfect love. Embrace the fierce, imperfect, beautiful reality. Because that's where real connection lives. That's where real freedom begins. That's where love becomes true. Real beauty doesn't live in perfection. It lives in the cracks, in the scars, in the wrinkles, in the messy, unfiltered moments of living. The Stoics knew no great thing is created suddenly. Real beauty takes time. It takes breaking. It takes rebuilding. It takes surviving storms and still choosing to bloom. The world will try to sell you a different story. It will show you airbrushed smiles, perfect timelines, perfect skin, perfect love, but none of it is real. None of it endures, because real beauty is not polished. It is alive. It breathes. It bleeds. It fights. It refuses to disappear, even when the world tells it to shrink. Imagine seeing your scars, not as flaws, but as proof that you survived. Imagine seeing your struggles, not as failures, but as the fire that shaped your strength. Imagine looking at another soul and loving them more because of what they've weathered, not less. Real beauty is the courage to be seen, the courage to stay open, the courage to keep loving, even when it would be easier to hide. The ones who glow the brightest are not the ones untouched by life. They are the ones who were shattered and chose to rebuild themselves with light. Find beauty in the crooked smiles, in the tired eyes, in the hands that still reach for hope, even after everything. Find beauty in the imperfection, because that is where the soul shines through. It's easy to fall in love with the idea of someone, their potential, their promises, their perfection inside your mind. But real love begins where fantasy ends. The Stoics knew if you love only the perfect, you love nothing at all. Real love is choosing to stay, even after the illusions fall away. It's seeing the cracks and loving harder. It's witnessing the flaws and choosing compassion over judgment. When you love the ideal, you are in love with yourself, with your own imagination, with your own dreams. But when you love the real, You are choosing bravery. You are choosing humility. You are choosing to stand face to face with another soul in all their imperfect, messy, glorious reality. Imagine loving someone, not because they fit your story, but because they are writing their own. Imagine standing beside someone, not to complete them, not to fix them, but to honor who they already are. Imagine being loved, not for how perfectly you perform, but for how beautifully you simply exist. This kind of love is not safe, it is not predictable, it is not easy, but it is real, it is raw, it is liberating. Drop the ideal, embrace the imperfect, choose the real, because it is in the real that life actually happens. It is in the real that souls actually meet. It is in the real that love finally becomes true. You are not just shaped by your dreams, you are shaped by your people, by the ones you walk with, listen to, allow into your mind, allow into your heart. Now we step into lesson 5, how to choose your people wisely. The Stoics knew. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Because the people around you are not just companions, they are architects of your future. If you walk with the fearful, you will learn to doubt your courage. If you walk with the greedy, you will forget the taste of gratitude. If you walk with the shallow, you will lose the depth of your soul. Energy is contagious. Dreams are contagious. Fear is contagious. You become what you are surrounded by, not because you are weak, but because you are human. Imagine planting a seed and surrounding it with poison. It doesn't matter how strong the seed was, environment always wins. Your circle will either water your dreams or suffocate them. They will either call you to your higher self or keep you chained to your lower habits. Choosing your people is not about judgment, it's about responsibility. It's about asking, does this person call me to rise or pull me to shrink? Do they light a fire inside me or pour water on it? Do they challenge me to grow or keep me comfortable in fear? Choosing your people wisely is one of the highest forms of self-respect, because your soul was never meant to be thrown to anyone who merely shows up. It was meant to be guarded, honored, shared with those who see you, and still choose to lift you, build your circle, like your life depends on it, because it does. Not every connection is healthy. Not every bond is worth keeping. Not every closeness is good for your soul. The Stoics understood this. They chose their company carefully, because the heart is shaped by its environment. So how do you recognize a healthy connection? First, it feels light, not heavy, not draining, not like walking on eggshells. A healthy bond feels like AIR, not like weight. Second, it feeds your growth. It doesn't demand you stay the same. It doesn't resent your evolution. It doesn't sabotage your dreams. It celebrates your rising, even when that rising means outgrowing old patterns or old fears. Third, it respects your boundaries. It doesn't guilt you for needing space. It doesn't punish you for speaking your truth. It doesn't make your no feel like a betrayal. Fourth, it inspires you to be better, not through shame, not through pressure, but by calling to the strongest parts of you, by reminding you of who you truly are. When you forget, imagine being surrounded by people who push you to dream bigger, not doubt harder, who hold you higher, not hold you hostage, who make you feel more alive, not less yourself. This is what a healthy connection feels like. It doesn't chain you. It challenges you, it cherishes you, it calls you home. Guard your circle, because the connections you choose will either fuel your future or drain your destiny. Staying in the wrong circle will cost you more than you can see, more than you can measure, more than you realize until it's too late. The Stoics warned, avoid what debases you, because you can have the biggest dreams. But if you are surrounded by fear, you will shrink. If you are surrounded by cynicism, you will doubt your light. If you are surrounded by smallness, you will forget you were made for greatness. The wrong people will make you second-guess your purpose. They will mock your healing, dismiss your growth, minimize your voice, not always out of hatred, sometimes out of their own fear, their own limits, their own unhealed wounds. But the reason doesn't matter. The effect is always the same. Your soul gets quieter, your dreams get smaller, your joy gets dimmer. Imagine trying to build a fire, but every time you strike a spark, someone pours water on it. Imagine trying to heal, but every time you take a step forward, someone reminds you of every past mistake. The wrong circle will have you doubting your power, forgetting your courage. Settling for a life you were never meant to live. You don't rise in spite of your environment. You rise because of it. Choosing your circle is not just about comfort, it's about survival, it's about vision, it's about freedom. Surround yourself with those who see your light, who fuel your flame, who remind you who you are when you forget. Because your destiny is too important to hand over to the wrong hands. If your circle has been filled with noise, with fear, with smallness, with confusion, you are not trapped. You are not too late. You can begin again. You can rebuild. The Stoics knew. First, become worthy of your own company. Before you rebuild your circle, you rebuild your own soul. You become the kind of person you would want to walk beside. You become more honest, more brave, more clear. You hold yourself to a higher standard because you attract what you are ready for. You call into your life what your soul is aligned with. Rebuilding your circle starts with saying no to fake smiles, no to hidden envy, no to connections that drain you more than they build you. Rebuilding your circle means protecting your energy, choosing conversations that lift you, choosing friendships that stretch you, choosing love that frees you. It means being willing to walk alone for a while, to sit with your own company, to become comfortable with your own silence. Because from that silence, you will begin to hear. You will hear the whisper of your own truth. You will hear the call of your own purpose. And from that place of wholeness, you will begin to attract those who don't need you to shrink, who don't ask you to hide, who don't fear your light. Instead, they will fan your flame. They will rise beside you. They will meet you where your soul already stands. Rebuilding your circle is not about having more people. It's about having the right ones. Even if that means fewer, even if that means stronger, even if that means finally choosing yourself first. Guard your circle like your life depends on it, because it does. Look around you. The people beside you are not just companions. They are mirrors. They are blueprints. They are prophecies of your future. The Stoics taught, show me who you walk with, and I will show you who you are. Because your circle shapes your habits, shapes your mindset, shapes your beliefs about what is possible. You cannot walk with small minds and expect to think big. You cannot walk with fearful hearts and expect to move bravely. You cannot walk with those who settle and expect to soar. Energy transfers, dreams transfer, limits transfer. If you are serious about your growth, you must be serious about your company. Imagine walking beside people who remind you every day of your strength, of your light, of your purpose. Imagine conversations that ignite your mind instead of draining your spirit. Imagine friendships where you are not afraid to dream out loud. The right circle will challenge you, not by belittling you, but by believing in you. Even when you doubt yourself, they will call you higher. They will not let you drown in excuses. They will not celebrate your comfort zone. They will push you to rise. Your destiny is too sacred to be surrounded by the wrong energy. Choose wisely, walk bravely, protect your light by protecting your walk, because in the end, you don't just become who you wish to be, you become who you walk with. If you lose your mind, you lose everything, your peace, your purpose, your power. Now, we step into lesson 6, mastering your mind against distractions. The Stoics believed you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Because in a noisy world, your greatest battle is not out there. It's inside. It's between your higher self and the endless distractions that pull you away. Every notification, every argument, every fear-mongering headline, they are all seeds trying to grow inside your mind if you do not guard your mind. The world will plant confusion. The world will plant fear. The world will plant chaos and call it normal. Mastering your mind means choosing your thoughts, choosing your focus, choosing your energy. It means being ruthless about what you let in. It means treating your mind like sacred ground. Imagine building a garden and letting anyone walk in, stomp through, trash it. Would you call that freedom, or would you call that self-betrayal? Your mind is your masterpiece. Your mind is your last line of defense. Your mind is where your real life begins. Guard it, cultivate it, master it, because if you lose your mind to distraction, you lose yourself. But if you master your mind, you master your destiny. Your mind wants to be clear, wants to be powerful, wants to be purposeful, but it cannot fight what it cannot see. If you want to master your mind, you must recognize its enemies. You must call them by name. The first enemy is distraction, the endless scrolling, the endless notifications, the endless noise pretending to be urgent. Distraction does not steal your life all at once. It steals it, one meaningless click at a time. The second enemy is doubt, the small voice that says, "Who do you think you are? Why even try? Nothing will ever change." Doubt is not wisdom, it is fear wearing a mask. The third enemy is comparison, measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel, forgetting that their journey is not your journey. Their timeline is not your timeline. Comparison blinds you. It blinds you to your own gifts, your own progress, your own power. The fourth enemy is overthinking, the spiral of what-ifs, the paralysis of endless analysis until action dies, until courage fades, until your dreams rot inside your mind. The Stoics knew it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Distraction, doubt, comparison, overthinking. They are not just habits, they are wars. And every day, you must choose who wins. You cannot master your mind if you keep feeding its enemies. Recognize them, name them, disarm them, because every time you overcome them, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You become stronger, clearer, freer. And that is how mastery begins. If your mind is your battlefield, you cannot walk into it unarmed. You must train. You must prepare. You must become a warrior. The Stoics trained their minds every day, not when it was convenient, not when it was easy, every day, because they knew we suffer more in our minds than in reality. Training your mind is not just about thinking differently, it's about living differently, it's about becoming disciplined. In a world that celebrates distraction, a warrior's mind is built through small choices. Every time you refuse to scroll mindlessly, you sharpen your mind. Every time you choose presence over panic, you strengthen your mind. Every time you face a fear instead of fleeing, you build resilience inside your mind. Training your mind is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming powerful. It's about building muscles. The muscle of focus, the muscle of clarity, the muscle of courage. Imagine waking up every day and choosing your thoughts instead of letting the world choose them for you. Imagine protecting your first hour like a warrior guards their first weapon. Imagine breathing deeply when chaos demands you rush. This is how you win, not by controlling the world, but by mastering the only battlefield that matters, your own mind. Train daily, guard fiercely, fight wisely, because if you win your mind, you win everything. The world will pull you in every direction, every trigger, every insult, every unexpected change. But the Stoics mastered something deeper, the power to respond, not just react. Reaction is instinct, it's fast, it's emotional, it's unconscious. Response is power, it's deliberate, it's controlled, it's chosen. When you react, you give your power away. You become a puppet, pulled by every string the world yanks. But when you respond, you reclaim your freedom. You choose your next move. You stay rooted in your values, not your impulses. Imagine hearing an insult and feeling the surge of anger, but instead of lashing out, you breathe, you pause, you choose your energy. Imagine facing bad news, and instead of spiraling into panic, you ground yourself. You ask, what's the next right move? This is not weakness. This is strength. This is mastery. Because true power is not in controlling others. It's in controlling yourself. You cannot stop the chaos. You cannot stop the noise. You cannot stop the storms. But you can choose how you show up inside them. You can choose to be the calm within the hurricane. You can choose to respond from your highest self, not react from your wounded self. Every time you respond with wisdom, you win. Every time you respond with clarity, you rise. Every time you respond with purpose, you step closer to mastery. This is the heart of Stoic power, and it is yours to claim. Your mind is your last sanctuary, your sacred ground, your true home. And like any sacred place, it must be guarded, it must be protected, it must be honored. The Stoics knew the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you allow fear to root, you will live anxious. If you allow bitterness to root, you will live resentful. If you allow distraction to root, you will live scattered. But if you plant courage, you will walk strong. If you plant gratitude, you will live abundant. If you plant clarity, you will breathe free. Being a guardian of your mind means asking every thought, who sent you? Do you serve my purpose? Do you align with my highest self? It means being selective about what you consume, about what you entertain, about what you let settle inside you. You would not drink poison knowingly. You would not invite a thief into your home. So why let poisonous thoughts or thieving energies into the temple of your mind? Imagine standing at the gates of your thoughts, sword in hand, shield up, refusing to let in what does not serve your soul. This is not paranoia, it is wisdom, it is discipline, it is love for your own inner world. Because everything you build, your peace, your dreams, your relationships, your legacy, begins in your mind. Protect it, nourish it, guard it like everything depends on it. Because it does. You've been told, success is money, success is fame, success is status. But the Stoics knew a deeper truth. Success is virtue. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, we begin. Lesson 7. Building a life rooted in virtue. Because if your life is not rooted in virtue, it is rooted in nothing. It will sway with the winds. It will collapse under pressure. It will vanish when the applause fades. Virtue is not about looking good. It's about being good when no one is watching, when there is no reward, when it's hard. Virtue is courage when fear tries to own you. Virtue is temperance when cravings try to control you. Virtue is justice when selfishness tries to shrink you. Virtue is wisdom when confusion tries to cloud you. Real success is not how much you gather. It's how well you live. It's how deeply you love. It's how bravely you stand. It's how clearly you see what truly matters. Imagine living a life where your peace doesn't depend on your paycheck, where your joy doesn't depend on your followers, where your worth doesn't depend on anyone's approval. Imagine waking up each day and knowing you are living in integrity. You are standing in strength. You are choosing what is right over what is easy. This is the life the Stoics pursued. Not the loudest life, not the flashiest life, but the strongest life, the truest life, the only kind of life that death cannot erase. Build your life on virtue, and you build a life that endures. A life that inspires, a life that is truly yours. Virtue is not one thing. It is a foundation built on 4 pillars, each one essential, each one non-negotiable. The Stoics defined them clearly: courage, temperance, justice, wisdom. Without courage, you know what is right, but you are too afraid to act. You betray yourself through silence, through hesitation, through fear. Without temperance, you are ruled by cravings, chained by impulses. You chase every pleasure and lose your freedom to every appetite. Without justice, you live only for yourself. You forget your duty to others. You trample the weak. You hoard what was meant to be shared, and in doing so, you lose your own humanity. Without wisdom, you wander blind. You make choices out of ignorance. You confuse noise with truth. You mistake ego for strength, courage, temperance, justice, wisdom. 4 pillars, 4 weapons, 4 shields. Together, they forge an unshakable soul, a soul that can withstand betrayal, failure, loss, pain. Imagine standing inside yourself and feeling that strength, knowing, no matter what happens around me, I am whole. This is not fantasy, this is practice, this is training, this is the daily choice to build yourself from the inside out. The world will tempt you to chase easier paths, to compromise, to sell your soul for comfort. But the Stoics remind you, the harder path is the higher path, the virtuous path is the victorious path, because when everything else falls away, fame, money, approval, all that remains is the soul you built, and if it was built on virtue, it will stand forever. Courage is not just for heroes, it is not just for battlefields, it is for you. Here, today, the Stoics knew courage is the first of human virtues because it makes all the others possible. Without courage, you cannot speak the truth. You cannot pursue your dreams. You cannot protect what matters. Courage is not about being fearless. It is about acting, even when fear is heavy in your chest. It is about moving forward, even when doubt shouts louder than hope. Real courage is quiet. It's the voice that says, one more step. One more try, one more breath. Courage looks like saying no when the world pressures you to say yes. It looks like speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes. It looks like starting over, even when you are exhausted. Imagine living with that kind of courage, not waiting for the fear to disappear, but moving anyway, choosing anyway, being your full self, despite the risks. The small moments of courage are the ones that build the great soul. The moment you stand up for someone voiceless, the moment you admit your mistakes, the moment you chase the dream everyone else abandoned. Every small act of courage tattoos strength onto your spirit. It etches resilience into your bones. It reminds you, I am alive, I am capable, I am free. You don't have to roar. You just have to refuse to quit. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to move, because every courageous choice is a prayer to your future self. A message: I will not abandon you. I will build you. I will carry you until you can fly. Live with courage, because a life without it is not a life truly lived. The world will always whisper more money, more attention, more pleasure, more noise. But the Stoics taught another path, a higher path, a path called temperance. Temperance is the strength to say, enough. When the world screams more, temperance is not weakness, it is not lack, it is power, it is freedom, it is the art of mastering your desires instead of being mastered by them. Imagine standing in a room full of temptations and smiling quietly. Because you know you already have enough. You already are enough. You are not driven by hunger. You are driven by clarity. Temperance is the power to walk away from what glitters but does not grow you. It's the power to choose quality over quantity, depth over noise, peace over chaos. Temperance is not about having less, it's about needing less. It's about finding richness in simplicity, finding fulfillment in discipline, finding joy, not in the next thing, but in this moment. The world will tell you, you are missing out. But the soul whispers, you are free. Every time you practice temperance, you sharpen your mind, you strengthen your will, you build a fortress around your peace. The greatest luxury is not in owning more, it's in needing less. It's in knowing. You have yourself, you are whole. Walk lightly, choose wisely, master yourself, because in a world of excess, temperance is revolution. Justice is not just for courtrooms, it is not just for politics, it is for you, for the way you live, for the way you choose, for the way you treat the world around you. The Stoics taught, justice is the crown of virtue. Without it, all other virtues collapse. Justice is not about seeking revenge, it's about seeking balance, it's about seeking truth, it's about choosing what is right, even when it costs you. Justice is how you carry yourself when no one is watching. Justice is speaking up when silence would be safer. Justice is protecting the vulnerable, even when it's inconvenient. Imagine a world where every action was weighed by justice, not by greed, not by pride, not by self-interest. Imagine looking at every decision and asking, is this fair? Is this kind? Is this true? Justice begins small. It begins in the way you speak to a stranger, in the way you tip your server, in the way you treat those with no power over you. It begins when you recognize that your strength was never meant to oppress. It was meant to lift, to heal, to serve. Justice is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about being aware. It's about being humble enough to keep learning. The world does not need more clever people. It needs more just, more brave, more honorable souls. Every small act of justice is a ripple of change. Every moment of integrity is a rebellion against corruption. Carry justice with you, not as a sword to harm, but as a shield to protect, as a light to lead the way, because a life rooted in justice is a life that builds the world better. One small choice at a time. Wisdom is not how much you know. It is how clearly you see. It is how bravely you choose. It is how deeply you live. The Stoics knew wisdom is the knowledge of what is good and what is not. Most people spend their lives chasing shadows, chasing noise, chasing illusions, mistaking busyness for meaning, mistaking success for fulfillment, mistaking approval for love. But wisdom sees deeper. Wisdom sees through the noise. Wisdom cuts through the illusions. Wisdom whispers, this matters, this doesn't. Wisdom knows that not every battle is worth fighting, that not every voice deserves your energy, that not every desire deserves your soul. Imagine living with that clarity. Imagine waking up and knowing exactly what to pour your life into, and knowing exactly what to let go of without guilt, without regret, without hesitation. Wisdom is ruthless about your energy, ruthless about your time, ruthless about your soul. It is not cold. It is pure, it is free, it is whole. Wisdom allows you to walk away from noise. Wisdom allows you to endure the storms without losing yourself. Wisdom allows you to love deeply without losing your center. The wise do not live louder, they live deeper. They choose roots over branches. They choose eternity over applause. They choose peace over popularity. Every choice you make builds your destiny. Every moment you choose what truly matters. You shape your soul. You sculpt your legacy. Practice wisdom. Seek clarity. Protect your light, because a life without wisdom is just motion without meaning. But a life with wisdom becomes a masterpiece. In the end, it won't matter how much you owned. It won't matter how loud you lived. It won't matter how many people knew your name. What will matter is what you built inside yourself, what you stood for, what you loved fiercely, what you protected without apology. The Stoics lived by this truth. What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone, but what is woven into the lives of others. And your real legacy is not a monument, it's a memory, it's a warmth. It's the unseen ripple of every courageous choice, of every kind word, of every just action. A legacy rooted in virtue does not fade, does not rot, does not depend on applause. It endures, it multiplies, it echoes across generations. Imagine living today, knowing that every step you take is shaping something bigger than yourself. Imagine speaking today, knowing your words might be the seeds of someone else's courage tomorrow. Every moment of integrity, every act of justice, every breath of courage, every choice of wisdom, they are not wasted. They are building something invisible and indestructible. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will see, but the soul you build, the soul you offer to the world, will tell a story louder than any speech. Build your legacy now, not someday, not when it's easy, not when you're ready now. Live with such clarity that even when you are gone, your light keeps rising, your courage keeps inspiring, your love keeps healing, because in the end, it's not about being remembered, it's about becoming someone worth remembering. You made it here, and maybe something inside you shifted. Maybe a voice inside you whispered, I am ready. Ready to live by courage, not by fear. Ready to honor your truth, not chase illusions. Ready to walk in virtue, not in noise. This journey is not about perfection, it is about alignment. It is about remembering who you were before the world told you to forget. The Stoics would remind you, you have power over yourself, and that power is enough. So walk forward now, stronger, clearer, freer, and if the world grows loud again, if you lose your way, come back to this. Come back to yourself. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to remember their own power and aim. Leave a comment below. I choose virtue, not for views, for your own clarity. Your story is not over, it is just beginning.